Hey, Facebook Live. How's it going? Good to see you again. Good to see you. So, more on Irma, and wanted to start off right off the bat with this, a tropical storm watch for southwest Georgia, southeast Alabama, and it does include Auburn. So it does include Lee County. The details on a tropical storm, hi Tara, the details on a tropical storm watch means that conditions will likely turn into what we would normally think as tropical storm force winds, 40 plus miles per hour, rainfall, could see 2, 3, 4 inches of rain. And this is all the time frame, most likely Monday afternoon into early Tuesday. Okay, so they've already canceled classes at Auburn in response to this, and I haven't seen some of the other places around, but I know that that tropical storm watch goes until Tuesday. So for folks in Auburn, if you haven't seen the news, we posted something on the CBS 42 Facebook page. It's also on our CBS 42 News app. You can read all about that tropical storm watch in Auburn. So we want to start off with that. Did want to show you though the rest of these tropical storm and hurricane watches. Basically the entire state of Florida, that magenta color, that's all hurricane warnings. All of that is hurricane warnings, okay? So this is the situation that my home state is in right now. Jamie, I will get to Beham in a little bit, and I'll get to all those particulars. So we will talk about that in a second. I wanted to get to the watches and warnings. As noted, Irma hasn't moved a whole lot north. It's kind of went just due west, and that was reflected in the latest advisory from the National Hurricane Center. It's pretty interesting to me that it's still maintaining that eye, but it hasn't made that jog, even though the last advisory, the 4 o'clock advisory that we had, said that the motion was north-northwest. That hasn't happened yet. That hasn't happened yet. So what that means is a couple of different things. Maybe the models that we use to forecast don't really have a reliable grasp on what Irma might do. We might be getting some skewy data from some of the hurricane hunters that are flying in. And this also might signal the possible eye wall replacement cycle. So these hurricanes, what they do is they cycle up and cycle down, kind of like I don't want to compare it to a thunderstorm, but it's kind of like that. All areas of low pressure do this. Hurricanes are no different. So it might be in a weakening stage, and then it flips back and it starts to strengthen again once it gets completely over the water, and that's when we'll start to see that turn. But maybe right now this is just kind of a wobble, because it's only 3 hours. You note the time, that's only a 3-hour loop. So it might just be some sort of anomaly, okay? I do agree. I hope there are no power outages in Birmingham, but we can't make any promises. And I had to go kind of a little bit more formal now that it's evening time. Gotta be a little formal. So I'm sorry about that. Did want to show you these big feeder bands moving into South Florida now. The Miami area was actually under a hurricane. They're under a hurricane warning, but they were also under a tornado warning a little earlier. One of these feeder bands spun up a little water spout offshore and it moved onshore, and that's why we had a tornado warning there. But right now they are seeing tropical storm force winds. They're also seeing very torrential rainfall from these bands, very gusty winds, 35, 40 miles per hour. And it gets closer to Key West as we go throughout the night and early tomorrow morning. Let's talk about the track. We got that for you, the latest particulars. Maximum sustained winds at 120 miles per hour. The pressure has dropped. Don't want to try to get too technical, but here's what we look at when we see pressure dropping. We normally think pressure drops, winds increase, okay? When the pressure drops in a hurricane, that means it's getting stronger, or so we think. So we would normally see a wind increase, but we didn't. We actually saw a wind decrease. So when the pressure drops, think pressure drops, hurricane gets stronger, okay? We would normally see an increase in the winds, but we haven't. Don't know why. Hurricanes are funny. I wish there was an answer, but we just don't know. Moving west-northwest at 7, We'll see that. We'll check that. If that hurricane keeps moving west instead of jogging to the northwest, then we might have some problems with the Hurricane Center's movement and track. We might be getting some weird data from the hurricane hunters. Jackie, I will get to can it shift toward the Gulf. I will get to all that in a second. So let's talk about the track. This is the official track from the National Hurricane Center. Makes landfall near Key West tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning. Moves up near Naples, just off the coast of Naples, and then into Fort Myers from around 2 to 5 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. So around 2 to 5, 2 to 6, give or take, from Naples to Fort Myers as a Category 4. Note the winds, 140 miles per hour. Okay? Then it moves up. Now this is getting into my neck of the woods. I'm from the Tampa area. Going to impact my family starting probably late Sunday night, early Monday morning as a Category 3 storm. Okay? Basically right through the chute, right near Tampa Bay, up through Hillsborough County, near Pinellas County, Hernando, Pasco County up next. Early Monday morning. It moves to the north. Kind of right along the coast. It's not going to go too far from the coast. It might not even get 30 or 40 miles from the coast. Then it moves into southwest Georgia, southern Georgia, as a hurricane, still, as a Category 1 storm, Monday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So it covers a lot of ground between Monday at 2 a.m. and Monday at 2 p.m. So 12 hours, it covers the storm center itself, okay? The storm center itself will cover about, from Tampa to the state line, it's about 170 miles, give or take another 50. We'll say it's going close to 20 miles per hour at that point, the center of the storm. Obviously, it's a big storm. It'll cover more ground, but the center of the storm covers about 250 miles in just about 12 hours. So we'll say 20 miles an hour. Category 1 storm, winds of 75 miles per hour. That'll be just near the center of the storm. Most of the people in southwest and southern Georgia will just see tropical storm force winds, but I say just see tropical storm force winds. That still means 50, 60, 70 mile per hour winds with heavy rain. Could see power outages, down trees, the like. Then it gets to where we need to be concerned about it, okay? From Monday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to Tuesday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so 24 hours, it goes from a Category 1 hurricane to a remnant low. In between here, it'll transition to from a tropical storm to a remnant low. By the time it gets here, we're pretty confident of what we're going to see, our impacts in central Alabama, okay? We're going to get rain and we're going to get wind. The wind, anywhere from 20 to 30 miles per hour with higher gusts at times, talking 40 to 50 miles per hour. The important thing to note here is that the center of the storm, okay, the middle area of low pressure, the tight area of low pressure in the middle of the storm, is going to stay to our west, or stay to our east, I'm sorry. We'll be on the west side of it. It'll stay to our east. Get my directions straight. That is good news because the worst part of a storm, a tropical cyclone, is always the east side. So we're getting the better side, quote unquote, the better side of it, okay, as it moves north. And then Tuesday, it just kind of peters out, fizzles out. We won't have to worry about it anymore. I think our major timeline for impacts is going to be Monday night into Tuesday, and then we're done, most likely. I think some lingering rain and maybe a little bit of breeze, but that's it. Okay, so scenario number 1 is that, what I just talked about. I think there's only one other viable scenario with this, and that is that it continues its westerly track, and we'll show you this. Say this is a good location, but it doesn't move northwest, okay? Say it keeps moving west. Say it moves west for the next 6 or 7 hours, okay? Puts it right here. Then when it makes that turn, where's it going? Still in the Gulf of Mexico, okay? There's a lot of questions about will it get into the Gulf? And I know when we think about a storm in the Gulf, we think, oh my gosh, Florida Panhandle, Panama City Beach, Pensacola, Orange Beach, and then into central Alabama, and that's not good news for us. With this storm, I don't think there's enough time for it to move far enough west for it to be a problem for us. Do I think it's possible that maybe it stays off the coast? Okay, it's definitely going to hit the Keys. That's a given. Do I think it may stay off the coast and just kind of hug the coast of Florida, but stay off the coast and not make landfall? I think it's possible. It's not impossible. It's not the most likely scenario, but it's still a possibility. So shift this track 50 miles to the west. We've seen that happen over the last couple of days. Shift that track west, it stays a Category 4 storm most likely. Interacts with all this land in Florida. You still have winds that extend 70 miles out from the center. Hurricane force winds that extend 70 miles out from the center. So it's still going to be a monster storm. It's still going to cause a lot of damage along the west coast, but it stays here where it can still regain a lot of strength. Because the waters in the Gulf of Mexico, we're talking 88, 89 degree waters. It is warm. It's bath water out there. Okay? And say this keeps going like this, we're talking the Big Bend of Florida. Okay? Where I went to school. Tallahassee, just up the road. It's a possibility. It's not the likeliest scenario right now, but it is a possibility. Okay? Nope, Kelly Godfrey, scenario 2, not good. That is an understatement. Mandy Wilson, folks who have been ordered to evacuate, please do it. Yes, please do it. If you can hear my voice and you've been ordered to evacuate, please go. I see some comments about Savannah. I think Savannah's okay. Let's scroll up in the track here. You see it kind of makes that turn before it heads north. It doesn't just go straight north. If it went straight north, Savannah might get some pretty breezy conditions, some tropical storm force winds. You still might out here because the storm's so big. But the real bad part of the storm is going to stay well west of you. So that's some good news for folks in Savannah. I don't know, covering the Matthew last year, you guys don't need another storm. So you're going to dodge a bullet here. I do think it's interesting that it maintains Category 1 status even into South Georgia. This thing is a very strong area of low pressure. Like we saw with Harvey, it just doesn't dissipate once it gets over land. I know that's what we like to think about. It weakens, yeah, but it doesn't do it instantly. It doesn't go from a Category 4 storm to nothing in just a couple of hours. Jamie, what in scenario 2, what cat storm would it be once it got to central Alabama? I think it would be a tropical storm. I think we could see really breezy conditions and really rainy weather. And if that scenario were to happen, I mean, you draw a line. So if we want to say the western side of the cone is scenario number 2, like we were talking about, say that is the cone, look where it goes. I mean, the center of it will go right into central Alabama. The bad part about that would be we would see a higher risk of the other stuff that comes along with a tropical storm. We would see tornado chances. We would see those higher wind gusts. We would see more torrential rainfall. For right now, where the track is right now, all of that stays east of us. All of the tornado risk, all of the really strong wind, and all of the really heavy rain stays east of us. Okay, that's the scenario that we've got right now. So scenario 1, that all the forecasts are pointing to, that the National Hurricane Center thinks is going to happen, paints us in a pretty decent picture. We don't have a whole lot to worry about. We still are going to see some nasty weather Monday and Tuesday, but it's not going to be, definitely not going to be anything that South Georgia will see or Florida will see. We will be very lucky to get out of this with just that. Okay, so Amber, I do not want to bet on that. Let's not bet on scenario number 2. Mandy, just outside the cone in Atlanta, I should be just fine. Fine, just monitor wind gusts and possible tornado outbreaks. Correct. Yes. Folks in Atlanta, you will need to monitor the fact that you could see some tornadoes. Okay. By the time it gets there, the wind gusts themselves from the storm will be pretty weak at that point. You're talking 40, 50 miles per hour. But on the east side of a storm, that's where the severe weather potential is. So yes, you will need to monitor the severe weather potential. Absolutely. Okay, let's talk about specifically Alabama. Okay, sorry. So anybody asking about Central Alabama? Okay, we've got a question about Odenville. We got a question about Anniston. Do you believe there'll be power outages in Central Alabama? Let's get to those questions right now. Okay, so if you live in Central Alabama, I don't care where. Okay, Tuscaloosa, Pickens County, Anniston, Oxford, Coleman, Clanton, Hamilton, Wadowee, I don't care where you live in Central Alabama, all of this pertains to you, okay? All of it pertains to you. So watch this closely. Everyone is going to have pretty much the same impacts. It doesn't matter where you are in Central Alabama, okay? Here we go. By Monday night, Monday morning, you could start seeing some rain. You notice all the really heavy stuff, the yellows and the oranges, all of that really heavy stuff is basically the stronger part of this storm, okay? And actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change the resolution on this. So basically, I'm going to go to a model that's a little bit higher resolution, which means I can pinpoint a little bit better storms that could pop up. So let's do this. Let's do that. We do that? Now let's do that. Why don't we? Okay, so here you go. This is a little bit better resolution. You get a little bit better picture on what the impacts could really be. Okay? So here we go. This is Monday afternoon. Got a lot of rain, most likely. Starting to see some gusty winds. All of the nastier weather stays out to our west, or to our east, okay? So we're on the west side of the storm. All the really nasty stuff stays to our east, okay? But still, a lot of rain, a lot of wind. This is by Monday night. Start to see things kind of wrap back around to the north. But again, notice where all the stronger bands are. Well to our north, off to our east. Okay? Maybe a little pocket here in East Alabama, but all of the stronger storms look like they line up to our north and to our east, where they normally would be. Okay? So we're still on the side of the good there. Then by Tuesday morning, things just start to bleh. Okay? For lack of that's a technical term, bleh. That's what happens to the storm once it reaches land, well into Tennessee, just kind of, yeah, that's it. Okay? I still think by Tuesday, we'll see wind and we'll see some rain. But I think our biggest impacts start Monday afternoon, Monday night, early Tuesday, then we're done. Rain and wind starting Monday afternoon. 2 to 3 inches of rain. Okay? That's everybody in Central Alabama. 2 to 3 inches of rain are possible. Okay? Between Monday afternoon, Tuesday morning. 20 to 30 mile per hour winds are possible. I think that's likely, actually. We'll change that to likely. 20 to 30 mile per hour winds likely. And then gusts of 40 to 50 miles per hour are possible. That could lead to power outages, okay? Because what happens? We know all too well what happens when we get strong winds in Central Alabama. We've had to deal with it several times this spring and summer. If we get some good soaking rain, which we probably will from this storm, and then if we get a little bit of wind, it's not going to take much, but if we get a good wind gust, you're going to see some power lines go down. You're going to see some trees go down. That's going to happen. So yes, could there be power outages in Central Alabama, in the Birmingham area? Maybe. I wouldn't call it a likelihood. I would call it possible, and we would need to watch out for that. That's definitely a risk. I think it's a fairly low end at risk, but I think it's a risk that we need to watch out for. So yes, that is possible. Let's look back at some more comments here. I don't know who Jack. I'm not Jack. I'm Nate. But thank you, Roslyn. You have a NOAA weather radio, so I'll definitely keep it on hand. Very good idea, Jim. Just looking at the storm, should made the turn by now. I have a bad feeling that it's too big. It's so big, it's got to get to the landmass first, and it will turn like most all storms I've seen since I lived in Anniston. I have a bad feeling number 2 might just happen. I sure hope not. I sure hope not. James, scenario number 2 will bring tornadoes, and according to other streams, the eye will skirt Florida and make landfall just southeast of Tallahassee. Impact on central Alabama would be Cat 1. Maybe. Maybe it would be Cat 1. We'd see. All bets are off when that kind of stuff happens. You just can't call it. You can't have any certainty, man. Just can't. The eye is regenerating. Yes. So basically, it's going through an eye wall replacement cycle. Hurricanes do that. They weaken, they strengthen. It's one of those cycles that they go through, most likely why we don't have very strong winds right now. We've got low pressure, but not strong winds. Mandy's got another question. Northwest Georgia. She lives at the bottom floor apartment building. I think she'll be okay. Northwest Georgia's far enough north that she should be fine. They're gonna get some rain, they'll get some wind, but it won't be that big of a deal. Thank you. I trust myself as well. Scenario 2, what does it mean for Valdosta? It means less impacts for Valdosta. So if you shift the track a little bit farther west, Angela, that means things won't be quite as bad in Valdosta. It's still going to be bad, but not quite as bad. Okay? Folks in Atmore, go back about, I don't know, 7 or 8 minutes, and I just explained everything that's going to happen in Alabama. Thank you. I appreciate it. So, talking about power outages, I actually have a map for that. Of course I do. Of course I have a map for power outages. I'm not unprepared. High risk of power outages. High risk of power outages. All across Florida. And this actually gives me a little bit of hope. I have family here. I have family right here. So I'm hoping. But I think I talked to my dad. They are prepared about as well as they can be prepared. So it gives me a lot of peace of mind. He's got a generator plus about 25 gallons of gas, and everyone's gassed up. So I'm thankful for that. So just say a little prayer tonight for everybody in Florida, because they're going to need it starting tomorrow. So power outages all across the peninsula of Florida, and then once you get into Georgia, check it out. There is a moderate risk that we see power outages widespread in Georgia, okay? And that is all because of those strong winds and also that severe weather chance, okay? Birmingham, Central Alabama, most of Alabama, low risk. That's good news. That's what we talked about, that low-end risk for those power outages. Maybe the occasional tree or power line comes down because of the winds and the soft soil, and that's it, okay? I do want to call your attention, though, to the high chances of these power outages in Florida. We're not talking about power that goes out for a couple hours and the power crews get back on the scene and get you back up and running. This could be weeks that some of these people are without power. Weeks. 1 to 2 weeks. We saw it with Hurricane Wilma back in 2005. Basically, Wilma cut across Florida. Charlie in 2004 did one of these numbers. People didn't have power for weeks in the middle of Florida. Sometimes it's hard to get to these people that don't have power, especially in the rural areas. There's a lot of rural area in between the big cities. Tampa and Orlando. I'm from a smallish town. But outside here in northwest Florida, you got Gainesville, but there's a lot of rural out here. There's a lot of country out here. And these are the people that are most vulnerable because it's harder to get to them, okay? So we see these big cities just kind of dotting Florida, and that's what we think. We think of the big cities and the beaches and all that, but there's a lot of country in the middle of the state that's going to be very hard to get to if people are stuck. So let's think about those people. But other than that, that's kind of the bare bones of it. I've been rambling on for about half an hour now. A couple more questions, and then I'll wrap it up. Nathan Deal declared state of emergency. Yep, that's a very good idea. Just in case, just to get things going there. Thank you, Carrie. Appreciate the thoughts, and appreciate everyone who's signed on. I really do appreciate it. Valerie, thinking of your family in Delray Beach and Orlando, Jacksonville evacuated. Yeah, I think Jacksonville's gonna be spared. I got some friends in Jacksonville too. So it seems like I got friends everywhere. I got friends in Jacksonville, Orlando, Tampa, Tallahassee, all over the place. Miami, my in-laws are in Miami. They dodged a big bullet too. So our next update will be around 10 o'clock, and that will actually be the CBS 42 News at 10. I know we haven't had news today because of football. I know a lot of folks are probably watching the Auburn game, probably halftime of the Auburn game already. I don't even know who's – I have not had time to watch a single college football play today. Isn't that sad? I mean, it's a good thing because there's a lot more pressing issues to go, but hopefully your favorite team won. My favorite team didn't even play today. I'm a Florida State Seminole. It's okay. Hold your letters. It's all right. But my team had their game canceled today and tomorrow, or next week's game against the Hurricanes, oddly enough, got canceled too. So no football for me. At least my favorite team won't play for another couple of weeks. So anyway, hope everyone has a fantastic rest of your Saturday night. We will talk to you again at 10 o'clock, CBS 42 News at 10. All of our updates are posted on Facebook, of course. They're also on CBS 42's website and the mobile app. Download the mobile app. It's a really good source of all the news. All the news we've got for Irma. Very good source for all that. All that's going right there. So we will see you guys in just about 2 hours or so. I'm going to eat some dinner and hopefully catch a little break here. So we will see you guys in about 2.5 hours. See ya.